Are we not supposed to be worshipping the same God? If yes, then why do we have so many different and contradicting views of Him? Why so many religions? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, brothers and sisters, family and friends, depending wherever you are tuning in from. Welcome to the second episode of Exposing Catholicism. I am your host, Tongai Chipangura, and I am delighted that you have joined us today. If you have not subscribed, consider doing so that you won't miss any of our videos that we will be doing in the future. If you can recall, on our last episode, we established that we have so many religions in the world today because by nature, by DNA, by design, a human being, a man is a religious being. So a man will try by all means to make sure that he expresses out, he reaches out to God. Therefore, at the end of the day, it resulted in a religious being formed, and a lot of them, we have them. 3,000, some are saying more than that. But we also established that all of these religions, they cannot be true because they teach contradictory teachings about the same God. It's either these religions, all of them, including Christianity, are false, or only one religion is the one which is a true religion. For example, we look at the character of Jesus Christ. Christianity, its teachings about Jesus Christ, they contradict with what Muslims teach about the same Jesus Christ, as well as Judaism, Buddhism, and Hinduism. Christianity teaches that Jesus Christ rises from the dead on the third day. But Islam said Jesus Christ was not risen from the dead. He was not even crucified. Judaism is the same. They don't believe that Jesus Christ risen from the dead. Therefore, with all these different views and different contradictory teachings, we managed to test all these religions, and we found out that only Christianity, its claims, they are very close to reality. They matches with truth. That is why we say Christianity is the true and only true religion. The uniqueness of Christianity to all other worldly religions is that other religions of the world claims to be founded by someone who either claims to have an insight into God or who claims to have a revelation from God. But Christianity was founded by someone who does not claim to have insight into God or who claims to have revelation from God. But it was founded by someone, Jesus Christ, actually who claims to be God himself. So Jesus Christ claims to be God. This is the uniqueness. This is the difference between Christianity and all other religions. Jesus Christ claims to be God. So is Jesus who he says he is? If Jesus Christ is God, then all Christianity is true. If Jesus is not God, then all Christianity is false. If Jesus Christ is not God, all Christianity, it falls apart. If he is not God, what we can say is Jesus was a professional liar or a professional lunatic. However, we have established that Christianity is the true religion. However, you go into Christianity. Now, you find out they also teach differently about the same Jesus Christ, about God, about salvation, about forgiveness of sins, about what happens after life after death. And it has resulted in almost 100,000 Christian denominations. Almost every church, almost a church is being founded. Someone says after every 5 days, somewhere in the world, a new church teaching different and contradictory claims and teachings about the same Jesus Christ. But Catholicism, there is a uniqueness with Catholicism. As we say there is a uniqueness with Christianity, there is also a uniqueness when it comes to Catholicism. If you look at all other Christian denominations, they are founded by someone or a group of people or a man or a group of men or a group of men and women. If you trace them, who the founder of other Christian denominations are, you will find them, they existed in a certain place. It is founded again under different circumstances. You found out that the founder of those Christian denominations, sometimes they claim again to have a revelation to God, an encounter with God. Therefore, we have so many of those Christian denominations today. So how do we navigate all these 100,000 denominations to get to one true Christian denominations? Because as we say that all religions cannot be true, only one religion can be true. We can also say all Christian denominations, there is no way they can be true. It's either, if Christianity is false, then all Christian denominations, all Christianity is false. It falls apart. But if Christianity is true, then among all those denominations, Christian sectors, there must be one true Christian religion. The uniqueness of Catholicism now comes in the sense that while all other denominations are founded upon someone in a certain place, in a certain history, in a certain area, Catholicism is the only Christian denomination which does not claim to be founded by someone. Catholicism is the only Christian denomination which, even if you trace it, you do not find anybody, you do not find someone who claims to be the founder of that Christian denomination. This is the uniqueness of Catholicism, and we can equate it into the uniqueness of Christianity. So what does the Catholicism teach us about religion and man's relationship to God? It starts by describing the relationship, this relationship of God and man, by saying that there is a desire for God in all human beings. the longing for God, the desire for God is written in the human heart, because man was created by God and for God, and God himself, he never ceases to draw men to himself. So a man, a human being who has ever lived in this world, cannot live without God. This is what Catholicism says. Cannot live without God. We cannot do away with God. Why? Because in our heart, it is inscribed. There is a permanent marker, which is a desire for God. And this permanent mark cannot be erased by anyone or by anything else in the world. What does it mean? The desire for God never vanishes in a human heart. It will always be there. It will be satisfied. That desire will be satisfied the day or the instant when we find the true embrace of that God. When we come to understand that God, our hearts are restless until the rest in you, only in you, our God, says St. Augustine. So, what does this mean that the desire for God is written in human heart? It means we are created by God for three purposes. One, to know God. Number two, to love God. And number three, to serve Him. So, in the quest of a man in trying to know that God, a human being through the history down to the present day, man has given expressions for their quest for that God. If you leave a man, let's say a baby, 1 day old baby is born today and is left in a desert where he or she will grow up with no one else who have ever told her anything or who have ever told him anything about anything. He just grow up. As the day she comes of age, when she became to have that age of reason, that person, that human being, he will start to make those expressions of trying to connect himself with God, of trying to find a relationship with God. Many will develop, human being will develop that behavior and ways of knowing, of coming to know God. These behaviors is like he will start to make the expressions of prayers, sacrifices. He will or she will start to make rituals, meditations, and so forth and so forth. This is what we call the desire for man is written in the heart. The desire for God is written in the human heart. This is in fact what the Catholicism teaches. So these expressions of devotions to God through activities that I've shown you, like prayers, sacrifices, rituals, it will become to manifest outside. So many will do anything, whether wrong or correct, to develop a relationship with God, because the desire for God is written in human heart. So these forms of expressions by men in trying to know this God are so universal that you might find out that in a certain area, people begin these forms of expression. In a certain time, this is why we say human beings are so religious beings. So, as people, as human beings, we began to cultivate ideas, come together. this desire for God is written in our heart. We cannot do away with it because we are created with this desire, and because God has put us in places and in boundaries where we live as human beings, and as human beings we manage now to come together in that time of our existence, whether 1,000 years ago, this generation that we are living in, then we confided with each other in that desire for God. We find each other. There is that desire for God in all of us. Then we come to make a uniform expression to know God and to come with an idea of how are we going to do those rituals? How are we going to do those outward acts of worship? Whether it is true, whether it is right, whether it is false, whether it is true or false. But as human beings, because of the desire for God, which is already imprinted, inscribed in our hearts, which we cannot do away with, which cannot be rubbed, we became religious. A human being is a religious being. Even if you try to suppress that desire, there is no way you can suppress it because it is already imprinted in our heart. That's why today we have what we call organized religions. So that man left alone, as he try to reason, as he come to the edge of reason, he will try to find God, connect with God. But how does he come exactly to know and to have a real relationship with that God? Without anyone teaching you, without faith, without anything, by just merely looking at the world around us, we will come to know that God exists. Therefore, those forms of expressions begin to build up in our lives. By natural light of reason, by natural light of human reason, without anyone teaching you anything, by just looking at everything around us, the beauty of it, the sun, how it rises and how it falls, the moon, the mountains, the rivers, the way that a body is built, our bodies are built, we will come to the light with that natural light of reason. You don't need faith to know that God exists. We just need natural light of reason. That's what Catholicism teaches us. We will come to know God by just a natural light of reason, which is in our heart, in our mind, and in our elect. But remember, natural light of reason only by using that one, it means we might not come to fully know God because of a lot of obstacles. There are a lot of obstacles if we only use the light of reason, because God, although he is real, he is also not visible to our naked eyes. So it means we want some knowledge beyond, which transcends visibility, which transcends our natural light of reason. Knowledge which is invisible to us, because that knowledge, we can call it the spirituality. So for the things that are invisible to us. What do we need? Because we still need to understand this God. We still need to know this God. We still need to fully know him as he can be known, so that we can have the correct way of sacrificing, worshipping, doing all those rituals that I mentioned. A man will start having rituals in order to connect himself to God. Because by natural light of reasoning, we came to know that God does exist. But God is real, he existed. But he also transcends that natural light of reasoning, because he is invisible to us. It means there's another world that we have to connect with, that world which is a spiritual world. So for us to enter into that invisible world where we can connect and know God, what do we need? What is needed? What kind of knowledge is needed? This is what we can call enlightenment. God himself, as I said in the beginning, he never ceases to call men to himself. So he got another way of enlightening a man with another knowledge, which a man now can certainly say, we have come to know God. And that knowledge is what we call God's revelation. Revelation about religious beliefs, revelation about sacrifices, revelation about moral truth, which although are not beyond human grasp, these revelations, a person, especially a human being, because he is created by God and with the desire of God, is imprinted, is inscribed in his or her heart. It means we can have these revelations, we can come to understand these revelations, but God's revelations transcends that which a human person, a human being can grasp. So with God's enlightenment, we have come to certainty that these religions we are practicing is not in air. Catholicism teaches that because of this God's revelation, we have certainly come to understand, we have certainly come to know that this religion that we are practicing is not in air, or is not a mixture of error and truth. By nature, man is a religious being, coming from God and going towards God, and will live a full life only if he freely lives by his bond with God. Without the Creator, without God, we are not in existence. We, the creatures, vanishes. Without God, we are not there. So, who is this God? Who is this Creator? Subscribe to this channel. We will answer this question when we meet again on the next episode. If you like these videos, please share them, comment, and like them. Next week, next time, whatever next time that we are going to have another episode, we will be talking about this God. Who is this God? Who is this God that all religions are saying to be worshipping? Specifically, the God who Catholicism has told us. Remember, I said, if Catholicism is true, then all other Christian denominations, they cannot be true. For today, it's enough. We will meet again next week. Bye-bye.